Hi everyone, this is Nikki Rowland, and today I have a mini album to share for simple stories. I'm using the new Homegrown collection, which is absolutely adorable. It's farm themed, and luckily I have lots and lots of farm photos all the time. It's the only place we seem to go. Okay, so I'm making a mini album today, and whilst I initially thought that I would do like rectangular pages or square ones, something like that, I actually decided to hand draw a barn. I really loved the barn in the collection, and I thought I would try to recreate that. So I just used a piece of copy paper and a pencil, and I drew a barn onto a piece of paper, and then I just cut it out, and then that became my template. So I just used that as my template. Actually, once I've cut one from pattern paper, then that becomes my template. Okay, so I've drawn it onto that red paper. So I'm mostly using the 6x8 paper pad today to create my pages. I've drawn around the template and I'm just cutting that out. And I also, when I made the template, once I had cut it, I then folded it in half and made sure that it was fairly symmetrical. So that was a little tip there because that was just something that really helps me when I'm doing something like this rather than using a cut file. I'm doing it by hand, so therefore to try and get something symmetrical is always hard. So that's just a little tip there. Fold it in half if you can. So I've also got my little barn door that's going to go on the front there. You can see I have the piece of ephemera in the shape of a barn there on my desk as well to copy and to recreate. So right now I'm trying to recreate that barn door. So this is probably the most difficult part of this album, and it took me a while. So I have cut a door from white cardstock, and now I'm trying to recreate the pattern on the actual piece of ephemera. So it's quite intricate, really. It's kind of cross-hatched. It's also a double door that kind of opens gatefold, so I need to make sure I incorporate that, and I need to be able to cut the door in half, the double door in half, so that I have two doors, and I also need to be able to bend backwards, but of course the frame will be very small, so I'm just a bit worried about how all that's going to come together, but I do just about manage it. You'll see soon. So here I am making my door. I'm just still drawing in the crosshatch sections, just using a ruler and a pencil to lightly draw them, and then once I cut them out, I'll then be able to rub them out. I was thinking about drawing them first and then going over them with like a Sharpie or something, or a fine liner pen, rather than actually cutting out the bits, but no, I decided that I would go ahead and cut out all of those bits. This bit takes me quite a while, so I'm going to switch and fast forward a little bit until I've got doing something a little bit more interesting. Okay, all the triangles are out of the door. It looks okay, and I'm going to do a bit more work on that in a bit. But right now I want to add some more detail to what will be my front cover. I'm just cutting a small piece of pink. So on the barn piece of ephemera, it has this kind of silver strip at the bottom. Well, I didn't have any silver paper, so I've gone for a lighter pink, and I'm also wanting to back my door with a colour. So instead, in the ephemera, it's just red, but I wanted it had to be back with something, and I didn't want to use another whole sheet of red doing that, because I need the other sheet for my back cover. So I've gone for green, and I've just backed that with that, I'm also going to add a small outline to the roof. So again, on the piece of ephemera, there is a small outline. I think it's black, but again, I didn't have any black paper, so I thought I would go for a different colour and make it nice and bright and happy. So I went for yellow. So I just used my template to draw the outline onto a piece of yellow paper, and then I just moved it down in order to create the second line, and then I just cut it out with my scissors. So you can see I'm totally doing all of this by hand. Nothing is being done on the silhouette machine or any other cutting machine. I haven't even printed a template. I've actually done it all completely myself. I was actually away on holiday when I made this album, so I was very limited in terms of what I had with me, including the embroidery threads that I wanted to use on the front cover. So unfortunately I have to add the embroidery threads later. Okay, so I've added my title now. Well, I've added one word, farm. Oh, I have added friends as well. Sorry, I forgot. I thought I hadn't done that yet. Yeah, so I've added a title. I mounted it because it was red. Unfortunately, it was red and against red. I mounted it first onto white cardstock and then trimmed around it. And I've got farm friends. They're both from the foam stickers. On my door, I have stuck that onto the layout. It's not a layout. Onto the front cover, and I've also I cut through it first, then I stuck it onto the front cover, and then I had to trim the pink bits so they didn't show when I opened the door. Yeah, it was a bit of a, I had to kind of piece it together, but you can see the detail in it and it looks really lovely. And off camera and when I get home from holiday, I add lots of stitching around the edge of all the details. Okay, so now I have cut out pages from the pattern papers, and I've used my front cover as a template and just drew around them all and the different colours that I thought would work well as backgrounds. I tried to choose the ones that were less busy. This one you can see there with all the stripes on, that will not work for a background, so that's going to be covered up. But at the moment, because I haven't added my stitching to the front cover yet, I don't want to then cover up the back yet because I'm going to add white. So now I'm just going to make the spine. So somehow I need to bind all these pages together. So I've decided to go for kind of like a hidden hinges type technique, which is where you create a binder like this one or a spine, and it has lots of little notches coming out of it that you can fold up, stick together, and then you can stick your pages either side of them. So you can just see me making that there. I actually made the space in between each one very wide. It's 1/2 inch. Normally I would do 1/4 inch, but my mini books always end up being too big. So I thought this time I was going to solve that problem by making 1/2 inch in between each page. It's actually turned out that that's a little bit too big. So somewhere between 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch is the ideal width. I have yet to figure out exactly what that measurement is. Okay, so I've left a long tab at either end, and those are going to be added to my back cover and front cover. But before I do that, I want to make my spine look a lot prettier. So at the moment it's white, and the back of it I've now stuck all the tabs together so that they protrude nicely, either side of those tabs will be a page. That's all fine, but on the back of that piece I would be able to see where the folds are. So, and it's just white. So I would prefer it to be pretty. So I've cut a piece of turquoise paper with polka dots on, and I'm cutting that about the same size as my spine, and I'm going to just literally stick that on there. Adding some score lines first, so that I don't have to attempt to score it once it's stuck, because that's always a bit of a problem. So I've done my score lines already, and now I'm going to try and line up my spine in the middle of those score lines. You can see there. Okay, and then I can press that down nicely and then press the two sides down, and then I can actually trim it as well. But those two end tabs are not going to show in my book at all. They're going to be sandwiched in between two pages, so that won't really matter. So it's going to be stuck there. You can see how those two, that's the back cover and the front cover, are going to be stuck together. Literally going to stick those on to there, and then I will take another page, and stick that onto that back cover and that front cover, and that will completely cover up the middle binding. That will be completely covered, and you won't be able to see it at all. So that's a really great way of sticking mini albums together. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing for all of the pages. They will sit either side of those tabs. Okay, so still carrying on with the pages. I'm thinking right now that I'm going to stick the white onto the background. I think my camera just zoomed in. I don't know how that's happened. How strange. It's up in the air, so nobody could have touched it without me knowing. So that's a bit strange. Anyway, we'll work with it and see and hope that it's okay. Anyway, so there you go. I'm now covering up my back cover. Because I'm probably not going to add stitching to the back cover because it's the back cover rather than the front cover. So I could probably do that now, stick that on now and not worry about it too much. I am now thinking about doing my stitching, but before I start piercing holes, I think I better just check what embroidery threads I have with me. Well, I didn't have any that were the right shades, so I had to wait till I got home to do the stitching. So I didn't actually do that then. So I then had to kind of pull the album all apart when I got home and do it. Okay, so now you can see that I'm going to attach the pages. Again, this is something that I take apart when I get home because I want to add machine stitching around the edges of all of the pages, and I didn't bring my sewing machine on holiday. That would be a step too far in my husband's eyes, I think. Yeah, I'm just going to tack my pages into place. They're not going to be properly in place. I just want to be able to see what it all looks like and get the kind of flow of the album going, maybe even do some pages. But I just want to make sure it's all kind of assembled so I know what everything looks like, and then I can carry on assembling and putting all the detail on the actual pages themselves, adding photos, that kind of thing, and then when I get home I can pull it all apart again and add all the stitching. So that's exactly what I did, and I'm going to finish now, now that I've got the album constructed, and I'm going to switch over to a flip through of the completed album. Okay, so here is a flip through of the completed album. I have a tie on here with a bow, a couple of cute little charms, a sheep and a chicken, and I've just got that tied through some bulldog clips. I can't take credit for that idea at all, but that's a great way of securing an album. So on the front cover, it just opens up to reveal a little cow inside. And then inside we have, you can see it's quite thick. Inside we have on the farm and some journaling there, ephemera, brads. Here, just some more photos, and then this page here flips open to reveal some journaling and some more photos. And this one opens out like this, and then in here we have photos and journaling cards. And this side is the same, photos and journaling cards, all very, very cute. I have stitching around all of the bits, all the layers, got journaling on here. These are vellum pockets. Next page, love this, hanging with my heifers, hilarious. That's my favourite phrase of the whole collection, I think. Then here we have a little booklet of tags that have, they've all got stitching round. They have photos and journaling. Cute. And there we go. A little tractor charm, very sweet. Just sits in that little vellum envelope there. Then here, this is just a flip up, show off the chickens and the eggs. Little vellum overlay there. Piggy page. There we go. Horsey page. Love the sunflowers and the red check, really pretty. Tractors, just that opens out there. Got a little bit of journaling there. And then this page here is a pocket. There we go. And then final page has just a couple of journaling cards and photos. They're backed with the cow print. There we go, and that's it, all finished. I really hope that you've liked it. And then just to close it again, just clip those. It saves opening and closing the bow all the time. So I think it's a great idea. There we go. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed seeing that little flip through of the completed album. Here are a few close-ups of all the pages. I couldn't get them all with all of the interactive bits open, but you can see. I forgot to mention that sunflower page, the green one, is a big shaker pocket. Little tag book there. That's the eggs that flip. That's the egg box that flips open. Vellum overlay over that piggy page. And they've got horses and tractors and the final back page with pockets. And there you go. That's it, all complete. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really hope that you have enjoyed seeing the Homegrown collection. It's adorable. I love it. Yeah, thank you so much for joining me. That was Nikki Rowland for Simple Stories.